Today, we're going to talk about something that almost everyone with ALS experiences, but, often in silence: anxiety. And let's be really clear right from the start. This is not a weakness. It is a completely natural human response to a life-changing diagnosis. And honestly, just understanding it is the first real step toward finding your balance again.
After a diagnosis, your mind can feel like it's just shifted into overdrive. It starts racing, right, throwing out all these urgent, kind of disorienting questions like this one, as it just scrambles to make sense of a future that suddenly feels completely up in the air. And almost immediately, those questions turn to the people we love the most, that worry about the impact on your family, on your partner, or your kids. That can become one of the heaviest burdens of all.
Ultimately, when you see all these questions swirling around, what you're really seeing is your brain's natural way of just trying to get a grip on a new reality. They are not a sign that you're failing, they're just a starting point. So let's start there by looking at what's actually happening inside the brain when these feelings take over. So if we really want to get a handle on anxiety, we first have to understand what it is. And it's so much more than just a feeling. It's this powerful biological response that's hardwired into every single one of us. And here's the absolute key. Anxiety is your brain's protective alarm system. When you're facing something as huge as an ALS diagnosis, that system perceives a real, ongoing threat, and it kicks into high gear to try and protect you. It's doing its job. And it's pretty interesting how this all unfolds. First, your brain detects a threat, like the constant uncertainty of the disease. Then it floods your body with stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And that puts your whole body on high alert. Now, this system is perfect for a short-term crisis, but with a long-term stressor like ALS, that on switch can get stuck.
And this is what happens when that alarm system stays switched on. It leads to these very real, very draining experiences. This isn't just in your head, it's a full-body, physiological state of chronic alertness. Okay, so that's the biology of it. But what are the specific fears that are actually fueling this alarm system? Let's break down that big, abstract feeling of anxiety into two of its deepest and most common roots. The first root is this fear of losing control, and that can lead to constant self-monitoring, where every single physical sensation gets put under a microscope. Your mind starts scanning for any change, turning your own body into a source of constant worry. And the second root, this one is huge. It's the profound weight of uncertainty. Here's a key insight. Our minds often struggle more with not knowing than they do with a known difficult truth. So these unanswerable questions can just circle endlessly, and they become the fuel for the engine of anxiety. Now, these core fears, they don't just stay locked up in the mind. Let's take a look at how they ripple outward, affecting everything from our sleep to our physical health and even our most important relationships. I'm sure many of you know this experience all too well. During the day, we have distractions, right? But at night, when everything's quiet, the worries about the future can just surface with this incredible intensity, making sleep feel totally impossible.
Okay, now I really want you to tune into this next part, because it might just be the most important takeaway from our entire explainer. It's about a vicious cycle, a feedback loop between your mind and your body. And if you can learn to recognize it, you can learn to interrupt it. It all starts with something simple, a physical sensation, something as common as shallow breathing or a bit of muscle tension. Then, your mind immediately jumps in to interpret that feeling. But in the context of ALS, the thought isn't, oh, I'm just stressed. No, the thought is a much more frightening one. Is this the disease progressing? And that single worried thought acts like throwing gasoline on a fire. It instantly ramps up your body's anxiety response, pumping out more stress hormones and putting your entire system on an even higher state of alert. And here's where the loop closes and the trap snaps shut. That surge of anxiety makes the initial physical feeling, the shallow breathing, the tense muscles, even stronger. And this, of course, seems to confirm that the original fear was right. Then the loop starts all over again, often getting more intense each time. Recognizing this loop is the key to breaking it. And beyond these internal feedback loops, there's another profound source of anxiety: the worry for our family. This deep, deep desire to protect our loved ones can lead people to hide their own fears, to try and stay strong for everyone else, which ironically only increases their own internal stress. Okay, so we've explored the what and the why of anxiety. Let's pivot now to the how. How do you actually manage this?
How do you find a sense of stability when everything feels so uncertain? Let's get into some practical, empowering strategies. I love this slide because it shows two totally different paths your mind can take. On one side, you've got catastrophic thinking, where the mind just automatically jumps to the worst case scenario. But the alternative is incredibly powerful, grounding. It's the simple, conscious act of pulling your focus back to right now, what you can actually see, hear, and feel in this very moment. So think of this as your actionable toolkit, grounding yourself in the present, actively recognizing and questioning those worst-case scenarios, intentionally setting boundaries on how much you research online, that's a big one, and of course, connecting with support. These aren't just vague ideas, they are skills you can practice, day by day, to interrupt those old patterns of anxiety. All right, for our final section, let's zoom out and look at the long-term journey. Because managing anxiety isn't about eliminating it forever. It's about learning to live alongside it. And in the process, discovering a kind of profound, quiet strength you never knew you had. What's so fascinating is this psychological shift that many people describe, that frantic mental time travel into an unknowable future. It gets replaced by a deeper appreciation for the value and the significance of today. The focus becomes anchored in the life that is happening right here, right now. And this brings us to a whole new definition of what it means to be strong. It's not about being fearless. Courage is feeling that fear, acknowledging its presence, and just continuing to live, to love, and to engage with life anyway. So, I want to leave you with this question. It reframes the entire journey, doesn't it? It's not about a battle against fear, but a practice of integration and resilience. It suggests that even in the middle of life's greatest uncertainties, the human heart is still capable of finding meaning, connection, and a quiet strength that endures.